Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, Naota and hopefully Leon, even though he's not really seen much, seeing as though he was celebrating his 10th wedding anniversary, so congratulations Leon. But Naota, I'll start with you. Let's start stateside, New York City, Barclays Center. Pretty impressive KO by Mr. Bomb Squad.
Yeah, real impressive stuff. Not necessarily something that I didn't expect. I mean, even in the first fight, I didn't really think that Stiverne had a chance to really touch Wilder. With this fight, it was just a matter of time, I think, before he was able to land that big bomb and take Stiverne out. And he didn't waste too much time. I mean, the thing is, Stiverne almost looked, not even just in the fact that he was in such terrible shape, but like just the stance that he was taking as the fight started. He looked like he was ready to go down. He looked like he knew what was about to happen. Like, you know, he like, it was almost like that situation in Mexico society where it's like, you know, you're not fucked up, right? You know.
Yeah. Like he was almost bracing himself for it. Yeah,
he was bracing himself for that KO. Especially, I mean, after that first big right hand that Wilder finally landed on him. You know, Wilder was throwing out the jab and everything. I definitely think Wilder needs to utilize that jab a lot more against these guys as he goes forward, you know, because that's ultimately going to be something that I think saves him from taking some of the return fire, as well as, you know, setting up his own big right hand, which is really what he's looking to land on everybody that he fights. But he landed it right on Stiverne's face, planted him right on his ass. And then, I mean, it was just a matter of time before, you know, he finished him off, dropped him pretty much with the first couple of clean shots that he landed right afterwards. And then finally knocked him out, knocked him to sleep right up against the ropes, man. Had Stiverne highlight reel, basically. You know, this might wind up being, you know, the knockout of the year, simply because, you know, the heavyweight championship fight. And, I mean, it was definitely pretty brutal the way that it ended. Even though, I mean, it didn't necessarily have that one shot. Boom! Like, oh, the guy, he was there with all his wits about him, and now he's out, you know, completely. But it was a pretty graphic one, you know, definitely one for Wilder's highlights.
All the memes were out as well. There was Stiverne doing a football/soccer celebration. There was Stiverne in a limbo competition, man. Like, people are savages out there. But Leon, even though you were celebrating 10 glorious years, I'm sure you've managed to have like 2 and a bit minutes to watch this fight.
Yeah, I watched that fight on Twitter. You know, it was really easy to catch up on it. You know, heavyweight boxing's repeating myself again. It's just shit in it. Like, I mean,
it
standard
is.
competition is fucking horrendous, man.
That was fun though, man. Come on, that was nice, man. The way he broke the guard with the jab and then that straight right hand.
Oh yeah, it was fun, but it was meaningless, wasn't it? And you know, yeah, it's just a shambles that a guy that age and that horrible a mess can find himself in this position. I know it's not Wilder's fault who he ended up fighting. Well, maybe it is, but you know, we don't have to lay the blame fully at his door for this fight. But I'm just glad it's over and Stiverne's gone, you know, because there's not enough good fighters in that division. You know, we need to get them all matched up, but hopefully it happens. But let's see, because that AJ Wilder fight would be good, you know, because they're both have enough flaws to make it exciting.
You see it happening next summer, Leon, or do you see some bullshit and it getting pushed back and pushed back?
It's on whether AJ wants to fight. Like, he's calling the shots, right? I think, you know, Wilder seems to be pushing for it and calling him out and declaring war and stuff like that. So that was good to see from Wilder. Like, I think we've always got that from him, and I think, to be fair to him, he should have fought Povetkin and Ortiz, but you know, you can't blame him for that. Like, he tried to fight 2 really good guys, so we've criticised him for years for fighting bums, but he signed the contract to fight one good guy and the guy who's like the boogeyman of the division. So I don't think Wilder is going to turn that fight down if AJ offers it to him. Yeah. So yeah, if AJ wants it, he gets it. But you know, there's more to boxing with AJ. You know, it's all the other decisions go with it, right? You know, the money he's making as an advertiser and all this kind of stuff. It all plays into it. You know, so I don't see it happening. It's not next. It's not next, is it? it'll be like the late summer, maybe, but all maybes.
Even further back, possibly now that the Millennium Stadium's in play, you could see it happening like this time next year.
But it's like AJ can't keep. Like, it's such a big machine, that AJ thing is like quality has to come into it. It really does, because it felt like there was a bit of backlash with it anyway, you know, from kind of loyalists to that realm and from that last pay-per-view. So I don't think he can just carry on fighting these guys without their story. And not that Takam was is a much better fighter than Stiverne. Like, that was a much more of a challenge for AJ, I think. But there's no story to go with that. You can't keep selling it all on the AJ side. There's got to be a good dance partner sooner or later.
I don't know if it's just me, but it seems that Hearn is nervous and he's just trying to collect a few more big paydays before a possible matchup. In case AJ loses, he might lose some of that value he's got. So I don't know. I'm just getting that impression.
Like, they can't get just slightly off topic. Like, they can't get away with just keep on selling this idea that there's an event, which I don't understand what that even means. Like, I saw people tweeting, "Oh, the AJ card, the fight wasn't good, but the event was great." Like, but what is that? I don't understand what that is. Like, if someone could explain to me what this event is that isn't the fight, I'd love to know. Because I've been to fights, and is the event queuing for a £5 pint? Is the event queuing to go to toilets while 4 grown men smoke Benson and talk? Like, what is the event? Like, if it's not the fight. So it's just another word to make excuses for poor cards, you know. Oh, it's a great event. What? Because you could sing the theme tune and there was a nice light show. Like, you can't keep selling AJ cards off that shit. So Wilder is the fight he needs. I mean, because Tyson's a mess. Like, they're saying he needs to lose like 7 or 8 stone before he can even fight. I mean, that guy's a way off. So Wilder's the only thing that makes sense, you know, because this shit with AJ and these cards is just fucking ridiculous, you know. It's just he needs names.
Yeah, just piggybacking off what you were saying about Fury. Naota, like, Fury makes me laugh. He's that guy that posts pictures of himself when he was in high school, when he was good looking and shit, and now that he's fat and bald and old, he's just trying to reminisce.
Yeah, man, it's hilarious. It's really a shame too, because I mean, he would make it so much more interesting. He'd make the division as a whole so much more interesting. Not only because of the shit that he talks, you know, he's a showman and everything, but because, you know, he's really boxing wise, he's really the best guy there, you know, and we deserve to see him fighting the other, you know, top guys. And, you know, if they beat him, then they beat him and usurp him as the true man of the division and everything. And if not, then, you know, he's the man, you know, but him just wasting his talent, squandering it, and, you know, squandering kind of our time is, I think, just kind of generally a shame. You know, it's kind of disrespectful to us as fans and the sport and everything, and it's just a shame in the grand scheme of things, because we're ultimately missing out on what would be a more fruitful and more interesting division as a whole without him in it.
Yeah,
and he's our guy as well. Like, AJ's like the casual guy. Like, we need someone to fight the good fight. You know, he's like the weirdo fuck up. Like, we need him back in the sport. He's kind of, I don't know. He kind of appeals to the more avid fan, I'd say. You know, and the skills are too good. Like, I mean, I know that Klitschko performance was horrible, but he mind fucked him in that. I don't care what anyone says. Like, he completely fucked him, and I'd love to see AJ tested like that, but I don't think AJ is bright as Klitschko, so I don't think there's that much mind to be fucked. Yeah. Perfectly honestly, you know, I think he just does what he does when he goes in there, right?
Well, and
but we want to see that fight.
Joshua doesn't have that same skittishness. Joshua doesn't have the same skittishness about him that Klitschko does, where Vlad is always like on guard, ready to get checked. You know, Joshua will let it hang out a bit more, and you know, is more willing to go out on a shield if that happens to be what winds up happening.
Regarding Fury, though, I just hate talkers, man. I hate people that say, "I'm gonna go get in shape. I'm gonna go lose 7 stones or whatever it is." Don't say it. Just go off into the wilderness, go to Siberia, have your Rocky moment, come back slim, and then let your fist do the talking. Sorry to use a common phrase.
Yeah, he's not really even a fighter at the moment. I just don't. You can't really even say that. You know, he's there in the background, but I mean, he's not.
He's like that creepy.
He's not a viable opponent for at least another year. I don't think.
Yeah, even probably 18 months, possibly.
He's a celebrity. Get him out of here.
He's going to be in the jungle.
He's a weirdo, man.
All right, you guys got anything else regarding the heavyweight division, Wilder, Joshua, etc.? I know you was on Friday Naota when we kind of covered AJ versus Takam, and
neither was I.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah. To me, they salvaged Joshua's knockout record and everything, but I mean, Takam gave him a lot of trouble, and it was a pretty good fight, interesting, and I think Takam would give anybody trouble, though. I think he would give Wilder trouble, and so not too much shame for Joshua to have some issues with him, but Takam was a good fight.
And you, Mr. Anniversary?
Yeah, I don't like the best thing about that whole thing was watching Steve Kim go full spastic on, and just go really fully Eddie Hearn fanboy, and then get angry and accuse the UK fans of, I don't know, what was he trying to say? Like, oh, he's about telling the truth. He has no agenda. Like all this stuff. It's like you've made a living off fucking shitting on PBC for 3 years, and then you've got the nerve to go on a blocking spree and get upset with people who have similar beliefs to you but just on a different topic. That was the most fun thing about it. But I mean, that card was fucking dog shit. And but it was a great event, so everyone left happy, right? Oh, what an event!
I'll never forget the moment Chemo met Steve Kim. We were standing together just outside the StubHub. Vic was there, and like Vic and Steve were going back and forth, and like Steve was, so where are you from? He says, yeah, I'm from Abu Dhabi. My name's Chemo, and he's like, oh, Chemo.
I bet Chemo dropped his knickers straight away there, didn't he? Fucking pervert.
All right, let's just go down this undercard. It's a shame they didn't televise Dominic Brazil versus Eric Molina, but that was a bit crazy because I thought it was a pretty decent fight.
Who won that fight? I don't even know the result.
Brazil won it 8th round stoppage. Oh, I don't know if Molina retired. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, they showed the highlights of it on Showtime. Basically, like it was kind of a back and forth scrap. Brazil was generally had the better of it though, and it looks like Molina's guys in the corner called it after what was it, the 7th or 8th round?
Yeah, it says 8th on Box, right? So yeah.
So is he mandatory now? So that's probably that will be his next fight then.
That's
probably
what I'm thinking.
Wilder,
Maybe
right?
April or something. Most likely. All right, let's move on to Porter versus Granados, Naota, because this fight was crazy, man. Like, I started watching this. I couldn't stay up live, so I had to watch it yesterday, but it was like watching a fight in fast forward, man. It was both guys were just moving so much, footwork wise, throwing so many punches. It was fun. Skill level, I don't think was really there. Like technique wise, both guys are both have that mauling style, and props to Granados, the man. He held his own against Porter. I thought like Porter was just bullying, but at points, like Granados out Sean Porter. Like there were points where you saw like, a bit of a head clash and Porter felt uncomfortable. Normally he's that guy that's on your chest, like getting the head in there, mauling you and shit. So it was pretty interesting to see that the shoe on the other foot. What did you think, Naota? Naota's dropped off. Hopefully they'll jump back on, but I know you probably didn't see it, Leon.
I didn't see it. How did he look, Porter?
I don't know, man. It was I wouldn't say he looked great, but I think that's more on Granados. Like on the British commentary, obviously we had Matt Macklin and the other guy used now. I can't remember his name. His name escapes me right now, but
who the other co-commentator or the kind of like main guy, like
the lead guy,
Andy Clark. Adam Scott, Andy Clark.
Andy Clark, yeah, that's Andy Clark. Yeah. Macklin was saying it's one of those fights where it's like 118, 110, like 170, 111, but it doesn't really tell the total picture of the fight. And that's what it was like. A lot of the rounds were close, but Porter was the guy that was, landing majority of the shots. So you kind of would have to give him the round, but not many of the rounds he won like convincingly.
I'm back. Was he doing anything different? Was he doing anything different, or was he just like he's just like one of those guys who, from the first fight I saw to now, like nothing's changed. Porter, it's just the same.
Yeah,
no improvements or subtle changes that I can notice.
I wouldn't say there was much.
It is what it is.
One thing I'd say, he was a bit on the outside, a bit more like he'd kind of start his attack from far and then kind of leap in with like a lead left hook or a right hand. And Granados was kind of
lunging in.
Yeah, Granados was doing kind of the same thing. That's what made it interesting, because both guys were kind of landing on each other, and Granados got a hell of a chin, man. Like Porter was landing flush on him, and like he wasn't even hurt.
Yeah, but his power's bang overrated. So overrated.
Yeah,
fair, I mean, to a degree. I think it's like people, they think about that Paulie Malignaggi knockout, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah. But Sam Egerton did that.
And also, he shook up Alexander a few times and everything, but yeah, he's not that one shot take you out type of guy. He's a thudding puncher, and he can rock a lot of guys, but I mean, the thing is, Granados is a really good, he has like Cam was saying, he has a really good chin. I mean, even though Imam put him down with that initial first shot, and Imam's a straight up knockout artist. Granados was able to recover from that and come right back and beat the living crap out of him the rest of the fight. And Imam never really hurt him that badly again. So, I mean, you definitely got to give some props to Granados' chin. This was a really good fight. Porter was having a lot more success when he would work off of the jab, when he would kind of triple, quadruple it up and everything. But when he would kind of dispense with that, Granados is, I think, really the first fighter that I've seen that was able to kind of fight Porter in Porter's own fight, that kind of brawling style, and actually back him off. Because, I've seen guys try to kind of box Porter and be able to kind of back him off in that fashion in the past. But this is the first time I've ever seen somebody able to actually, like, fight fire with fire and get Porter's respect, basically. And I think the stuff about his hand was bullshit. I think that was him trying to save face, especially because in the last couple of rounds, he needed the ref to save his ass, because he looked completely fucking done in those last two rounds. He looked hurt, tired, and ready to get put on the canvas. Maybe not necessarily ready to go completely, but looked like he was ready to get put down. And the ref fucked up. I don't even know the ref's name. I don't know if you could bring it up, Cam, but fuck you for for messing up a good fight and possibly spoiling Granados' chance to pull off an upset.
Yeah, it was Gary Rosado, but when you dropped off, I said the same thing. It was crazy seeing Sean Porter being out Sean Porter, like someone doing the same shit that he does to him. And that was quite interesting, but I said to you yesterday, Naota, like, it wasn't really a boxing match. It was more like a street fight. It was like one of them was going to, at one point, pull out a knife almost, you thought,
Yeah, when even, especially with all the antics of Granados, trying to show out and be like, hey, I'm going to go left. I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go left now.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Leon, you'll have to try and watch it. Leon, you have to try and watch it during the week. It's
I will do.
It's definitely your type of fight, Leon. You're gonna enjoy watching that.
And
it's kind of a shame too that there were definitely a few instances with Porter, leading with his head and everything. And the thing is, the height difference between them is so vast that I think he was able to kind of take advantage of the fact that Granados would frequently kind of bend down, so his face would be like in perfect position for Porter's lunging forward at him with his skull. But I mean, it was a great fight. And just for a quick second here, all the people online talking about like, oh, Granados is just a sore loser. He knows he didn't win that fight. Fuck you. You guys, this is exactly why you idiots aren't fucking fighters. Because if you're in there and you're in any kind of a close fight and you're beating the fucking dog shit out of somebody in the last couple of rounds, guess what? You might think that you're actually winning the fucking fight. That's the difference between professional fighters, guys that go in there and actually do it, and you fucking keyboard warrior faggot bitches that want to fucking dick ride a given fighter because of how he looks.
Angry Nota is the best, man.
Yeah.
He's the best. But Nota, like, just on Gary Rosado again, there was a moment, I don't know what round it was in, when, I don't know, Porter, I don't know if he's, I don't know what happened to him. Like, he started to kind of look away, and then Granados was going to jump on him. And then, like, Gary Rosado stopped in and kind of gave Porter a minute, when he shouldn't have really, because, defend yourself at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. What do you call it? I guess he thought that there might have been some kind of head touch, but he didn't indicate anything of the sort. The only thing that happened with the Porter was he got hit by a couple one of those, a couple of those kind of cuffing uppercut slash hooks, and he got hit with a nice left hook right upside the temple. That I think is really what had him hurt and kind of wobbly. Like walking all drunk towards the corner, not knowing he looked like he knew where he was going. And had the ref not broken him up right there, I think Granados could have scored a knockdown very easily right there. Not only that, but the fact that Porter his gloves kept touching the canvas and shit as he was grabbing onto Granados the last round.
Yeah, it was.
There could have been a couple knockdowns in there, and that he really spoiled the man's chances to actually win the fight. And so that's why I'm not surprised that Adrian was pissed off at the end. Even though you could tell that he wanted to go full Paulie Malignaggi after Juan Diaz after that fight. You could tell that he really wanted to say all that shit, but he knew, I guess, unfortunately, where his bread is buttered, and the fact that he's still getting paid, I guess, reasonably well enough that he doesn't want to spoil any further chances that he could have at upsetting the A sides and then making good on some of the promise that he's shown insofar as being not necessarily an elite fighter, but a guy that can give anybody and everybody problems, and a guy that if he was to go back down to 140, which I'm sure he probably still can, could potentially even take over the division.
Yeah, especially now where it's we'll probably touch on Lipinets, but it's kind of the Wild West down there. I think there's opportunity for a lot of people to kind of take over 140. But you got anything left on this fight, Naoto?
No, I mean, other than it was a fun fight to watch. I'm props to Granados for showing out more than I expected. I thought that Porter was just going to be too strong for him, too physical, but he definitely didn't show that. If anything, I'd say Porter might have been a little bit too well conditioned for him as it got into the later rounds. Because I'd say about rounds 7 through 9 is where Porter started to look like he was going to start pulling away until Granados hurt him in the 11th. But just a really good fight, and it's those type of fights where it's you think one guy's winning, and then all of a sudden it's he's hanging on the last couple of rounds that are the most fun ones to watch. The shifts and tide.
Definitely, man. Definitely. That's that Porter High Performance Center, bro. That's why he had that tank at the end. Thanks to Kenny.
Man. If there's somebody that is that definitely lives the life, it is Sean Porter.
Yeah, I don't know how he makes that way, man. He's so stocky, man.
Yeah, and he's a big guy. And he's one of those guys that had his football dreams come true for him, he'd probably be like 180 pounder or something like that, in the NFL, running up the middle.
Yep. All right, I was talking about Sergey Lipinets versus Akira Kondo. There were moments in the fight where Kondo was landing a nice right hand, or when Lipinets would land a left hook, right hand, or uppercut. But overall, I thought it was quite a boring fight.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was one of those ones where it's Lipinets was trying to, I guess, kind of style on Kondo, but most of Lipinets is kind of pot shots and jabs and stuff. I thought we're landing a full inch short or hitting Kondo's gloves. There wasn't. It wasn't very frequent where he landed kind of those eye catching ooh and ah type power punches. The right hand primarily is where I saw some pretty good shots from Lipinets. Kondo was actually, I thought, was a little bit more impressive in terms of the fact that, I wasn't even really familiar with Kondo other than the fact that he had fought Nihito Arakawa a couple of times and lost to Arakawa. Arakawa, a lot of people will remember from the fight with Omar Figueroa, where Figueroa kind of was having a hell of a time with him when he broke his hands. But Kondo, he showed great chin, and it just kind of kept pressing forward, and he was giving Lipinets a lot of trouble, and those scorecards were atrocious. Because to me, this was at the end of the fight, this was like a drawish type fight. It could have really gone either way. Should have been pretty much no wider than 7-5 for either guy. So for them to act like Lipinets shut the man out is frankly ridiculous. Because Kondo, he landed a number of great shots, had Lipinets hurt several times. When Kondo would land his shots on Lipinets looked like he needed a second or two to regather himself. When Lipinets would land on Kondo, he was like, whatever. And he just kept on plugging away and kept throwing hard shots, and he's not even necessarily a big puncher. He's not even one of these guys like an Inoue or a Higa that's like a premier fighter out of Japan. He's just kind of one of these kind of tough guys, like a Kamagai-esque level fighter, not even necessarily as high as him. But I mean, he showed, I think, a bit how overrated Lipinets was in terms of all these people acting like Lipinets was gonna, Terrence Crawford should fight this guy next because he'll give him all kinds of problems. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Lipinets isn't gonna give anybody any problems. We put Granados in there against Lipinets, he's fucking starching his ass. Put Regis Pro Guy in there against him. Pro Guy's highlight reeling him.
I think Josh Taylor beats him. I think Josh Taylor would beat him.
Yeah. I think he would too. I think he would. I think he'd be, just a little bit too quick to pull the trigger for him, and he'd be able to basically like have Lipinets trying to stalk him in the end of the day, and not being able to do anything. I think a lot of it is Lipinets hadn't been used to a guy that could really take his firepower and really physically kind of out-muscle him the way that Kondo did, and he wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, but I'm surprised you said you weren't too familiar with Kondo. So if you're not familiar with him, what hope have we got, man? Come on, bro. You're the Japanese expert. But regarding Lipinets, I don't know. For me, he throws too many. Apart from the jab, he throws too many single power punches. It's like he'll throw a big right hand from the hip, then he'll throw a big left hook from the hip, and there's always like delays in his shots. He doesn't really throw fluid combinations. It's always like a one-shot, fully loaded power punch. Apart from the jab, like he'll double the jab up, head to the body, but yeah, there's too many gaps in his when he's attacking, when he's going forward. I like to see him be a bit more fluid. There was a part in the fight where like Buddy McGirt said, "Okay, I want you to like throw more combinations, go to the body," and he actually did. He started to throw like 2 and 3s, 4s, but throughout the fight he wasn't consistent enough. He'd go back to his big right hand, his big left hook, and nothing in between. But Jas made a point in the chat, and I kind of agree with the Neil. I think the scorecards weren't too bad, to be honest. I think the rounds were close, but I thought Lipinets was like edging most of them, so I didn't think the cards were too bad personally.
No, I mean, I didn't think so. Watching it live, I thought it was basically a draw at the end of the fight. So it was
a draw.
The cards, but.
All right, let's not get into. I don't know how you would get a draw from that, Neil. I thought it was quite.
Well, because like clean, hard, effective punches, Lipinets would land like, oh my god, like that's a flashy shot. But when Kondo would land on Lipinets, like I said, he needed another second or two to gather himself and try to shake it off afterwards. Lipinets does not impress me, and I'm gonna laugh my ass off when he gets knocked the fuck out, which I'm sure is coming not too long from now. Unless they decide to protect him too.
Nailton, I know Lipinets was caught on his, high on his brow. I think what round was it? The 4th or 5th round? Fifth round he got caught. And like blood was going into his eye. Did you like hit your head in anything, and the blood was going into your eyes when you were watching this fight or something?
Nah, man, just watching it and that's what I saw. That's what I saw, man.
Right.
Judging what I saw.
All right. Anything else?
Lipinets to me got the Al Heyman scorecard treatment.
Okay. Well,
I think that was ultimately a sign of what happened with Porter and Granados. Was that fight?
Okay. Anything else we got in this Barclays Center card, Naota and Leon? Even though Leon didn't see anything else.
No, that about does it. Although, like, it's really a damn shame that Showtime didn't show the damn Brazil versus Molina fight. That's fucking very stupid upon Showtime's part. I get that. You have all these weirdos that like to that like to ride the nuts of a given organization or a given network. But I mean, come on, like that fight should have been televised. I mean, if you're going to be televising freaking all kinds of these other fights, females that aren't even fucking champions and shit like that.
Yeah.
At least you could do is give us a fight between two heavyweight contenders that could very likely be fighting for a title at some point in the near future.
But Naoto, like for years on cards like these where they're not stacked, they're not heavy cards, but like the mid-range of the cards are quite decent. So usually you'd see like...
I would have taken Brazil and Molina over Lipinets and Kondo any day.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is, usually would have like a show extreme with 3 fights, and then they'd go over to Showtime. Like, are they cutting the budget? Are they just not really focusing on it as much? Or
Yes, I don't get.
But you don't have to worry
that's
anyway.
What I was getting at.
You don't have to worry because Eddie Hearn's coming to save boxing for you, so you're in good hands.
I'm gonna get you a Matchroom USA T-shirt, Neota.
Excellent. Yo, Granados should sign with Eddie Hearn. Get him some bread.
Eddie Hearn will make him a chump.
He'll pay his mortgage off.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's move on. Let's go.
He'll probably have him move up to 154.
One thing I was going to say, Cam, just on the back of that Porter talk. What's going on in that welterweight division? That seems to have cleared out and become a bit...
Well, you know what it is?
Yeah.
I was going to bring this point up, but then we obviously moved on. But Thurman's just holding everything up because this fight was a final eliminator to fight Thurman, which he already had one. Sean Porter had a final eliminator against Andre Berto. So it's like everyone's just waiting on Thurman.
He's at Bandcamp, that one, isn't he?
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
With his flute, he's a fucking... But that division's gone...
I'm
that's all fallen off.
But it's like no one wants to fight anyone else until, like, either there's a title on the line or a big money on the line. That's what it is.
I just want Spence to ice everyone, because I think he would knock Porter and Thurman out. I think he would. But, like, who's he fighting? Is he fighting Peterson? I don't mind that fight, actually. That's a good fight.
They announced it.
Yeah, I like that fight.
That's a good fight.
Yeah, they announced it on that.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
It's like a month or so.
Initially,
but they have to fight. These guys have to. If Spence ices and beats Peterson, they have to fight him. You know, he's the guy, isn't he? I think he's. You know, I think everyone's seen that now. But like, that's the true test of everyone.
Yeah,
like, if Furman can handle
definitely.
Spence, then he's the truth.
You know what's interesting? Like on Friday, Kimo, I and Lim had a conversation about Eddie signing Jacobs, but I could see Eddie trying to sign Errol Spence. That's the perfect type of person Eddie would promote. Like, well spoken.
Yeah, with that Brook win as well.
Yeah, doesn't do trash talk that much. Like, that's the perfect candidate for Matchroom USA.
Big time.
And then I guess can anything be done? With on the other side, if with what's his name coming up from 140. I guess he'll fight Horn sooner or later. Yeah, Crawford will fight Horn.
They were basically saying that was going to happen, Crawford versus Horn.
Because that is the fight, isn't it? I mean, if you could ever get Spence Crawford, I mean, that's just... I know Spence seems like a bigger dude, but I mean, that's still the fight, isn't it?
Oh, that's amazing.
That's the best fight in boxing, potentially.
Yeah. It is, but
I'm not maybe not the best. Is going a bit too far, but right at the very, very top. If you
it's one of them.
handful of fights, isn't there? Yeah.
Within the range of that weight class, it is. Within the range of that weight class, it is. It's better than Jermel versus Lara. It's better than anything else that could happen at 140 or 154.
But that division's not so deep.
Divisions.
That division's not deep anymore, and like Spence was the guy coming up, but like who's the next guy coming up in that division? Like, I guess Crawford, but Crawford's an established guy, so I mean, I just don't think there's that young guy coming through. It seems like it's a top five. It's like a division of top fives.
Pending what happens in the near future, I think Regis Prograis could be that guy. He's at 140 right now, but I think he'll outgrow that very quickly because he's a big dude.
But what's that? 18 months off, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but I guess with the amount that guys fight, it doesn't really fucking matter 18 months, does it? I mean, that's only 3 fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that division needs to buck up its ideas, and Thurman needs to sort his shit out and get back in the ring.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go over to Monte Carlo, the Casino di Monte Carlo. It's a pretty small venue. Yeah, it had chandeliers, but I don't really like venues.
I've been in that venue.
How did you get? When did they let you in there, bro?
Remember time like way back when I first started come on the pod. I went to see. Was Stu Hall fighting down there?
He was. He fought Randy Caballero.
And when was that?
I think it was in a
4 years ago.
Was it Martin Murray undercard?
Something like that. I can't remember. It was in that small room. I was away with work.
What?
I like that room, man. That's a nice place.
Did
It
you?
looks nice. It looks real
It's
nice.
posh. Yeah,
Were you working at the
Everyone's there in
boxing, or
tuxedos and
were
I'm
you
there
in Monte
shorts.
Carlo? Were you in Monte Carlo and went to it, or were you working at the boxing?
I was in Cannes.
Ah,
Away with work, remember? Yeah.
Them high rollers,
I was
high rollers that just put $1 million on the table like
No. I was staying in a travel lodge, you know. But I was there in shorts and everyone else was there in tuxedos. And I dragged my mate along who hated boxing.
Getting that James Bond on.
Yeah, weird night is how I could describe that. Weird night.
no, that's a different venue though. That's the Sal des Tolis, something else. Yeah,
But this one had fucking chandeliers in it
this
as
had
well.
better chandeliers. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Anyway.
it's probably not too dissimilar. They probably all designed pretty much the same.
That's true. All right, let's get to the fights then. I don't think we'll be spending much time on it, but Leon, our boy Bivol,
Yeah, Iceman.
that right hand looked effortless, bro. It didn't even seem there was much power on it, to be honest.
I was saying to you boys, it looked odd to me. Like it looked like the guy had taken a bit of a dive.
I thought that.
How
Well
Yeah,
well it
at
landed,
first it
but then
almost didn't.
watched
It almost looked like it didn't land.
And he fell down weird, didn't he?
Yeah, it's like he thought, well, I'm fighting Bivol, I'm probably gonna get knocked out, so I'll make a bit of side money from it. All his family just put big bets on him to get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to judge, isn't it? I mean, what can you say about that fight?
Yeah. I mean, I watched it, like in the replays and all that stuff. It looked like it landed right on the tip of the jaw. So like it was like that perfect right at the angle shot, and that was all she wrote. And Bivol is now the WBA champion, the full one, and looks like he did. Yeah, it looks like Badu Jack and Andre Ward did the WBA's work for them, because they said about 2.5 years ago they were going to unify the fucking titles, and they never bothered to actually finish doing it. So, hey, Bivol's now the full champ, and let's see what happens for him next. It's gonna be, I think, kind of frustrating for the near future though, because his name isn't high valued enough for people like going after him, and he's an extremely dangerous fighter at that. So I think ultimately he's the kind of the guy that's going to get put on the back burner for the near future until his profile raises a little bit more, and people and then he kind of winds up being the last guy left to be having to fight for somebody like a Stevenson or a Jack or whoever.
Yeah.
But what was better, because Better Beast is back this weekend, but he needs a belt, doesn't he?
He's fighting for the vacant
Yeah.
IBF.
Oh, he is he?
Oh, he's fun. Oh,
Yeah.
well, shit.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
That's
That's the problem with all these vacant belts. People pick up titles too easy.
Yeah, they wait around. Oh, this person's vacated or retired.
Yeah.
Bam, I'll fight for the vacant. But I don't know how the tie-up happened with Eddie Hearn or how Bivol was on this card, but we're talking about Matchroom USA. That's another candidate I could see Hearn trying to pick up. Especially, did you see the post-fight interview, Naoto? Him, speaking English as well. He's trying to, cross over and become... a star, I think, and props to him as well. A lot of people don't put the effort in; they just, stick to what they know, and but by just putting the extra mile in, learning English, it just makes it easy for him to promote himself.
Eddie Hearn got to get him a Lucozade bottle.
But isn't he an HBO fighter now anyway? So he kind of is becoming a Matchroom guy in that sense, because that was on HBO, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think.
That card.
I think. Well, that fight was. I'm not sure about the card, but yeah, that.
Yeah, but that fight, Bivol was on.
Yeah,
Bivol was.
Played that. Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah, it's, you know me, I love Bivol, but I don't know. I've just
Yeah, we've got to talk about this. This idea that Daniel Lim is a big Bivol guy. I mean, just because Daniel Lim stalks him on his Instagram account doesn't mean he was the guy who, he's getting a lot of credit, Lim.
Yeah.
For the Bivol hype.
He is.
History needs to be rewritten.
It does indeed, but yeah, I just need to see Bivol take a shot, and see how he handles it. Because one thing about Beterbiev, even though he's a bit basic at times, man, he's got serious power. He'll throw an arm punch and the guy will be fucking wobbly legs. So if I had to pick right now, if they were going to fight tomorrow, I'd probably favour Beterbiev, man. But I say that with a heavy heart, man, because I like my boy Bivol.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But let's see what Better Beast looks like. You know, he's been out a while, hasn't he? So
yeah, that is true.
But Bivol just does just look a bit small next to a guy like him.
Yeah, like his frame isn't that big, really, is it?
I think he could be a super mid. Like it feels like he's close. He's in between weights, right?
Yeah, I see your point, but I don't know.
Just a bit too heavy for super middle.
Yeah.
I think I have a fight night weight from before. Let me see if I can find it, because I don't think he really gains that much, to be honest with you, overnight.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a pretty good KO if it was genuine. Wink, wink, Leon. But we'll see. Maybe some people got rich down under.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I'd like to see that. I think his family might have done well this weekend.
Yeah. But did you catch anything else from that, Leon?
I saw Quigg.
Well, I mean, he was a 20-1 underdog.
Yeah, so some good odds right there. But why the fuck did you watch Quigg? You should have messaged me and said, "Cam, what's worth watching?" I would have said, "Don't watch Quigg."
But I watched that live because I had a stream that was working at that point in time. Because Ruth was making me watch fucking Bear Grylls of AJ. I mean, I love that woman, and we've been married for 10 years, but she is an AJ. Fucking yeah, she's pure casual. My wife.
She tried to drink.
Fucking loves him.
She tried to drink Lucasade as well, though.
You know, I think she does it to piss me off.
Probably.
I think she does. Are you message? Are you? Is this your work or chemo? It's kind of reeks of chemo, like messaging her and telling her to download programs and make me watch them.
Behind your back.
Does she have the Anthony Joshua emoji that she sends you and all that?
No, it hasn't. No, but an hour watching him rock climb was fucking painful.
Yo, when's the birthday? I'm gonna buy a Anthony Joshua branded cap or T-shirt or something, just to piss you off even more.
No. What were we talking about? Quigg. Oh yeah, so watch Quigg.
Scat Quagg.
And he was getting outboxed for a couple of rounds like that guy, wasn't he? Stumbling around after him.
Let's just
he was looking pretty bad.
He would look rubbish.
Let's just call his opponent Oleg for now, because I can't pronounce his surname. So.
Yeah, but he was sticking, moving, landing punches on Quigg, wasn't he? But he was just too big, Quigg, in the end.
I've got a theory behind this now. So like he kind of took a lot of flack and criticism for his Frampton performance. So I think by him obviously switching up, going to train with Roach out in the States, I think he's just trying to look different. So he can say, look, I'm a different fighter now.
This is what I've done. This is what I'm doing.
But really, all he's doing is become a pressure fighter that's taking too many shots, really. He's not improved, but I think in his mind, he wants to look different. So he can say, well, my decision was just. That's what it just feels like.
He was rubbish.
He was like...
probably so, because he looked bad.
He was marching forward, just taking shots. He looked like he was just a hyper little puppy that just got let out for the first time in the big wide world, and he didn't know what to do. It was kind of crazy, man.
Just ran over to the corner of a ring and had a shit. No, he was just... Yeah, that guy was... Like, he got marked up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he will get badly knocked out in this division.
I actually see Hearn
because the guys are bigger than him. You know, he's not a super big guy there.
Leon, what do you think? Do you agree that I think that Hearn would cash him out quite soon? Like, I could see him like putting him in like a big kind of super featherweight.
Eddie Hearn can't look at him after losing to Frampton. Like Eddie Hearn hates him. You know what Eddie Hearn's like when he loses like these big fights. He can't stand Quigg.
This fight was at one.
No, that was my bad. I meant like a super featherweight in the sense of like a big name, a big name at featherweight.
Yeah, super fight at featherweight.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
Santa Cruz would be interesting.
I could see that happening, but obviously Hearn being with the kind of HBO, he still worked with Showtime, but who have HBO really got? Obviously, before they would have had Valdez, but obviously they're gone to ESPN now. So I'm trying to think who's on HBO that he could.
Jojo Diaz.
Oh, that'd be a good fight, Jojo.
But yeah, Leo would batter him because of the reach advantage, and if he's not blocking shots, I mean, Leo just do what he likes. Because Leo proved to a lot of people in that last performance, you know, that he could box at distance.
Yeah.
At a bit of distance. So I think he would just fucking eat Quigg up, man.
Ultimately,
That would be
he
savage.
would have to against Quigg, though, because I think Quigg he has that little bit more of that physical strength to him than Leo does. So I think Santa Cruz would have to box him a bit better. But I think he would,
Just land on him all night.
You'd see almost like Santa Cruz doing like a Mayweather impression on Quigg. I think if that would have happened, because he would, kind of stick it closer to the chest in terms of just pot shot the shit out of him.
Yeah, I think he would stop him,
Yeah.
But anything
So,
else?
I mean, I don't know what he does with Quigg, where Quigg, what's their plan with Quigg? I don't think they got one really. Chasing Frampton.
I could have seen him maybe do like a British clash, but with him going to featherweight, even if Jamie McDonald comes up to super bantam now and then, it's like, Jamie could skip like super bantam and go straight.
Yeah,
to,
he's big enough, isn't he? I think.
Straight to feather and then just have like a big UK fight. That's what Eddie loves to do. So I don't even know if I don't know if Doncaster have a stadium, Leon. To have a stadium.
Yeah, about 12,000.
They fill half of that, innit?
Well, even if he just did it, because I mean, if it's going to be a non-title clash, and then if McDonald loses, he always has the built-in excuse like, "Oh, featherweight was a little too big for me. I'll drop down to 122."
I think McDonald beats Quigg easily. I think.
Oh, easily, I think.
But all right, let's transition to that. It was a shame the way the fight ended, man, because it looked like it was going to be a pretty good scrap, man. Liborio Solis, Jamie McDonald, Naota.
Yeah, I really went hard on criticizing McDonald in the first fight, because of the fact that, I thought that he got pretty much his ass whooped in the first fight and everything. This fight, though, McDonald started off a lot quicker. He was landing that right hand really nicely in the first round. Solis kind of battled back and was just putting that nonstop pressure, punches from all angles on him. In the second round, then they had the head clash, of course, that opened up that cut that ultimately stopped the fight. And in the third round, they were just going to war, like just as the doctor started to like take that close look at the cut, because I think they both realized that if this fight gets stopped in the next round or two, it could be a technical decision, and then whoever's up on the cards is going to take it. So they just pretty much let it all hang out, and it was turning into a good little fight, man. I think that McDonald was actually may have been on his way to potentially winning the fight had he been able to kind of keep up that pace throughout the late rounds, because Solis does have some stamina issues later on, which is where McDonald did win a couple rounds in the first fight, in the later rounds, as he kind of was slow to warm up in the first fight. But it's just a shame, either way, both guys kind of got robbed of potentially getting a nice win. Solis ultimately isn't able to call himself a champion once more, and McDonald might, vacate, and Solis may actually wind up getting left out in the cold, because, as I mentioned before, with the WBA, with the whole Bivol situation, kind of a similar thing here. If McDonald moves up, that belt becomes vacant, and the WBA will probably just be rid of it, and then Burnett will just be their one and only champion. And so then Solis will probably have to fight somebody else in some kind of eliminator in order to be able to get another title shot.
Yeah, I could see that, maybe Butler versus Solis, final eliminator to get Burnett. Yeah,
and that's a good fight. It's a very good fight.
Solis will beat Butler.
That's a good fight, though, Leo.
It's a good fight, yeah. I'd watch it, definitely.
Well, Solis is one of those guys that it's hard to pick too many guys over him. Like, you have to really be an elite guy to be able to deal with somebody like him. Like, even when he fought Shinsuke Yamanaka, he gave him hell on wheels the full 12 rounds. And even though the cards were really wide in that fight, which they were too wide for Yamanaka, that was like probably one of the cards that you could look at with, maybe them favoring the Japanese hometown fighter or whatever. Solis gave him a lot of trouble, dropped him, and he's just a guy that, as long as he's in there, he's like that Carlos Takam of the division. He's just gonna be extremely rugged, rowdy, and force you into a fight. Force you to have to deal with somebody that's just like a buzzsaw coming at you for every minute that the round is. Or every minute that the fight is taking place.
Yeah, I just quickly need to shit on Lewis Pabon, the ref. It was a pretty bad cut, but I think the position of it was kind of a bit high on to the left, so it wasn't really dripping straight into the eye. Yes, there was loads of blood, but I think the amount of blood made the cut look worse than it was, especially, you know, when there's a mask of blood and whatever, when they start exchanging and blood's going everywhere. But to Dave Colwell's point, I think maybe let the round end and let the cut man do his work and then see how you get on, because, you know, he could have done a good job on it and then the fight could have continued, because Jamie's kind of wasted a year. The last fight was a year ago. Now he's had this fight. He kind of felt unsatisfying now, because we all felt that he lost. He thought he won it, so he had something to prove. He had a chip on his shoulder, and it's like, well, he's kind of just wasted a year. Now he's going to go up. It seemed like he wanted to go up after the first fight, but he wanted to prove a point. So fucking hell, all that effort, all that time, like let the fight go on a bit. But it's a shame, but that's how it goes, man.
Yeah. That's just how it goes sometimes. But I mean, hey, either way, I'm looking forward to see what happens with both guys. Both still guys that are high on my list of people to watch.
Yep, definitely. Let's talk about big fat Derek Chisora. Ruined his big payday now. It's crazy, man. Like, Chisora against the opponent he doesn't care about is just a fucking lazy, lethargic. He looked in terrible shape. And Kabayel, I've never seen him before, but from the eye test, all he was really doing is movement, and the jab was decent, you know. And like, Chisora couldn't even fucking deal with it, man. His regular corner man, whose name escapes me, Leon, you might remind me, but
not Don Charles.
Don Charles, well, he wasn't there, and the two idiots he had, man, they were just giving him terrible advice, but it didn't look like he was interested anyway. They were telling him things, and he was just like looking around, looking over here. Just, I don't know.
I thought he's with Tibbs. Has he gone back to Don Charles?
I think he's back with Don Charles. Yeah.
Oh no, it's Tibbs with White, isn't he?
Yeah, Tibbs is with White.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting confused. Yeah.
But yeah, Leon, it was just a lethargic, boring performance. I don't know how, you know, someone scored a draw. I thought Kabayel won it quite convincingly. It was a majority decision, but yeah, I'm glad Kabayel won, because it almost had a smelling of like a bit of a robbery, just because it's Chisora and they're going to try and set up the White rematch or whatever direction they're going to go. But I'm glad he lost, man, because he didn't deserve to win that fight.
I didn't watch a second of it, because it goes to that point that you said, Cam. Chisora's a great B-side. But when he's the A-side in a fight against a nobody or someone we have very rarely heard of, those fights are always fucking dreadful. Like, painfully bad. So I knew what this was going to serve up, so I didn't even waste one hot second fucking even trying to find a stream for that, you know. It was just going to be garbage.
That was time well spent, Liam.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, this guy Kabayel, though, he did. I mean, I thought I was mildly impressed with him, considering I really didn't know about him before. Yeah, I agree. The scorecards were terrible. You know, he pretty cleanly outboxed Chisora from where I stand. Chisora maybe won like 3 rounds of that fight. Really, I think Kabayel could be pretty difficult for some of these other guys. You know, maybe get him a fight with one of these guys just below the world level. You know, I don't know what the hell happened to Izu Ugano, the guy that Brazil knocked out from Nigeria, but I really would like to see him against one of these guys of like this level, Kabayel.
You just want to see him back in it. You just want to see him in a fun fight.
Yeah. You know what? That's what I want to see. Generally, man, I just want to see fun fights, regardless of the weight class. And I think that you know, when you match these guys up of a relatively even level, that's more often than not that's what you're gonna get. And I think that Kabayel has a style where, you know, if he's really forced to fight, he could probably be a little bit more fun to watch. But here, Chisora just looked like a fat, sloppy mess, and he really couldn't touch him all that much. This guy was rolling with the shots really nice. He's showing like a nice little bit of defense. You know, a bit of a slick style for a heavyweight, especially. You know, you don't see that too often. So. You know, hopefully we'll see him in a more significant fight. I saw all those dudes in the like all suited and booted in the crowd were very happy with his victory. I guess he's probably originally, like, his family comes from Turkey, even though he's based out of Germany and everything, considering the name and everything. But yeah, you know, maybe he'll be able to curry up a little bit of good fan base there in order to make a couple of these fights happen for him, and just make some interesting fights generally. The heavyweight division is a division that just can't seem to get out of its own way. I want to see these fights happen, the Molina Brazils, and have them actually fucking televised.
Yeah.
So let's get it.
Regarding Kabayel's entourage, I'm glad that he actually won the fight, because they would have tore that shit up in that casino. If
I was just about to say that too. They look like it reminded me of I don't know if you ever seen the video of happened a few months ago. I guess there was like some sort of protest going on with in Turkey with a bunch of dudes that looked just like the guys that Kabayel had cheering and chanting for him and stuff in the audience, and a bunch of people that looked like that were just like dressed in plain clothes and stuff, and those guys in the suits were fucking those people up like they ain't anybody to mess with, man. So yeah, they had that. Those chandelier shards could have been all over the place had he not gotten the decision.
Okay, last one. Leon, a name that you love and is dear to your heart, Eubank. Unfortunately, the name that comes before it is Harlem, and he won a split decision, but he should have lost that shit. First of all,
he got knocked down, for fuck's sake.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah.
How did that knockdown not get called, man? It was just a blatant knockdown.
It was ridiculous.
Oh,
he was fucking horrible.
You know what concerns me as well? That Adam Booth sees something in him for him to train him. That concerns me, man, because I'm high on Adam Booth.
He sees money in him, probably. That's about it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true.
Booth's a fucking cynical fucker, isn't he?
Yeah, that's
really.
True. Yeah.
But, it's just... And then I watched that on YouTube, and then it's all this commentary from Adam Smith about, he's been a breath of fresh air around here this week. He's a really grounded, nice guy. Stop telling us shit we just do not care about. I will be the fucking judge of whether or not he's grounded or not, or whether or not he's a fucking nice guy or not. It's just fucking filling the air with just meaningless fucking garbage, isn't he? It's just so, because there's nothing to say about the fight, is there?
No.
Because he's getting battered, so they just talk all this other shit about him being a nice guy. Ugh.
Adam Smith.
He was rubbish.
And Carl Froch together. Oh my god. Chemo, for years and years, I said that Hauling and Watt were terrible, but I would give anything to have them back. I apologise, Chemo, for saying that to them. Sorry. But yeah.
They punished us for that, didn't they? They thought you didn't think you could get any worse, and then they just fucking served us up.
Think again.
We brought it on ourselves.
Yeah, it was our own fault. All right, let's move on.
That was a terrible card, though, wasn't it, really? That was a fucking shocking card. I know Bivol's good, but that guy shouldn't have been in the ring, and then the rest is just horrible.
Yeah, it was...
I mean, how was Jamie McDonald... I didn't see the McDonald fight because it wasn't on... it wasn't on the street. I couldn't find a stream that didn't start until after his fight had been on. And then that Eubank's on before McDonald. He hates McDonald.
No.
He's another one he hates.
No. The Eubank fight was after. I think they used it as a floater.
Yeah, I mean after, but McDonald wasn't on the main Sky program.
No, well, they had that bullshit when like Sky have rebranded now, and they got like Sky Arena and Sky, whatever the name of the channel is. So basically, They went live on one of the smaller channels, and then they transitioned over to the bigger channel.
Oh, right, but I couldn't find a stream for the smaller channel then.
Right, yeah, so that's how they did it, but yeah, they used that Eubank fight as a floater because the McDonald fight ended so early, so yeah.
Okay.
But still, we shouldn't.
Still, he shouldn't have been on there, should he? That's the point. Someone that bad shouldn't have been on a Sky card.
No.
Like he was that bad, Cam, wasn't he?
He was. But
he looked like a competition winner. That's what he looked like.
Here's your competition prize: getting punched in the face by
getting battered by a Frenchman.
Yeah,
by a French tickler.
It's not a good look, is it?
It's a terrible look.
All right, that card's pretty much done. The only other fight that I've seen over this past weekend, Naota, was Luis Neri versus Arthur Villanueva in Mexico. Good fight, man, while it lasted. Yeah,
very good fight while it lasted. The ref maybe stopped it a bit early. Villanueva was hurt, but wasn't that hurt. I mean, he'd been kind of getting rocked throughout the fight. Managed to score a knockdown on Neri. Neri got a little bit too a little over exuberant as he tends to do, and kind of touched down. I guess he lost his mouthpiece or something. And he was like trying to catch it as like, and I guess the ref wound up being able to get it in the aftermath and putting it back in his mouth, or whatever. But fun fight. Neri is always going to be in fun fights. And apparently, he's still the WBC champion, so it looks like they're going to have that rematch between him and Shinsuke Yamanaka, in spite of the whole issue with possibly tainted beef causing his failed drug test. But the WBC are sticking by him. So him versus Yamanaka too, I guess, is going to be happening. But I mean, regardless of whether he's on juice or not, or whether the beef is beefing him up or not, I can't see Yamanaka beating him. I just can't see it happening. I think Neri's going to roll on through him once again. The Villanueva was hitting him with some pretty good power shots. Villanueva's a pretty hard puncher. I mean, he's a guy that gave McJoe Arroyo all he could handle in the process of defeating him. And, Tete was able to relatively cleanly outbox him, but he was a lot more on the defensive end there against Villanueva. Neri he's like, fuck what you got, I got more, and he just came right at him and battered him basically, and that's just the type of fighter Neri is. So I just can't see what Yamanaka can do in order to change his fortunes in a rematch. I mean, I think he would have to make some serious improvements that I just don't see him doing at the age of, I think he's 34, 35 now. In spite of the fact that he was the longest reigning champion in boxing, and I guess he kind of still is. Consider if you're counting the ring title, because the ring wound up giving him back his title, even though the WBC didn't.
Yeah. Now, the Yamanaka first fight was the first time I've seen Neri, and I'm on the wagon, man. Like, this guy's high tempo action fighter, throws punches and bunches, counters and combinations, and he's vulnerable as well. Like you said, against Villanueva, he got caught with a shot, kind of touched down. He wasn't really hurt, but he's open to getting hit, and that's what makes it exciting. Like, yeah, he might not do that, but he might get knocked out himself. It's almost like the Amir Khan syndrome, where that's what makes it exciting, because you're always on a kind of knife edge, man. And I'm really impressed with him, man. He's definitely a guy that I'm always going to try and look out to watch from going onwards from now on.
Yeah, he's like I'd say he's like an improved version of James Kirkland. He brings that same kind of tenacity, but I think he has a little bit more there in terms of his actual skill set, and also even his chin. Even though he is vulnerable, he doesn't have that look where it's like any potential shot could knock it, like spark him out the way that it could with Kirkland. He might get shaken up, but he'll still be have his wits about him, and he'll still be firing on all cylinders, trying to freaking put his fist through the back of your skull with every shot.
Yeah.
Fun fighter, and hopefully he's able to maybe he sticks to chicken instead of beef from now on or something, and he's able to avoid any controversy in the near future.
I was going to say, when a Mexican fighter is going to start eating like organic beef, like just stop this shit, like just stop buying the shit.
Needs to go on the Tim Bradley diet, man.
Become a vegan.
That card gets played hard, doesn't it? That card.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when Tim Bradley said like he started to run backwards just because he would help improve like his footwork? That was kind of hilarious, man. But,
yeah.
Any other fights that you guys have seen this weekend?
Nah.
Well, there was Soto Caras getting stopped by Abru, Juan Carlos Abru, back on Thursday. Oh yeah, you covered that on the chemo special.
Well, yeah, I mentioned it, but we didn't really. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah. No, Soto Caras is about done, man, or not about done. He is done.
Yeah.
He is done. I think Kamagai finally broke that uncrackable rock and snatched that soul. And Juan Carlos Abru he's an okay fighter, but he's not a guy that you would imagine like he stopped Caras and now he's gonna go on to bigger and better things. He's really a middling level guy that is ultimately like probably a gatekeeper in himself.
Yeah.
So I don't really expect too much from that.
All right, Leon, any news you want to discuss?
No, nothing. I'm eating again.
You fat bastard. But no, it's the same with me. I was kind of looking over Box Rec for the past week, and nothing's really announced. Nothing's really getting talked about. So Naota, you got anything you want to talk about? Just quickly going back to you, Yamanaka Neri 2. If it does go ahead, with it being early November, mid-November now, do you think it'll probably be early next year now, maybe mid-next year before they get back in the ring together?
That I'm not sure about. I know originally they were talking about maybe New Year's, but that was, I think, before Neri wound up making this fight here with Villanueva.
Yeah,
so
I think New Year's is going to be too short now, isn't it?
They'll push it back further, and maybe, too soon probably. And I know Yamanaka is one of those guys. He's going to want a full. He's going to do the Street Saket Gonzalez 2 treatment. He's going to train for like 4 months in the Ivan Drago scenario shit, and try and, stir up whatever he has left of himself in order to win that fight. Even though I just still I don't see it. So I'm sure, probably I'd expect maybe February or March for this rematch to go down, and it'll probably be a very big one. You know what I mean? Because Yamanaka is one of those guys that he's kind of one of the modern day greats of Japan, and so I'm sure they'll want a fair amount of build up for him trying to get his revenge on Neri.
For him getting starched for the second time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's most likely the way it's going to wind up going down.
Yeah. And any news you want to talk about?
Well, apparently Luis Ortiz isn't going to let Wilder off the hook, whatever that means. Maybe his blood pressure is low enough now that he can get off of his meds and actually fight the man. But I don't know, man. I'll take that with a grain of salt. I guess, the WBA removed him from their rankings. I don't know if the WBO has anything to say about it. But, hey, if Ortiz is able to get a fight against Joseph Parker, I'd love to see it, considering the fact that even though these guys are testing positive or whatever, and they're still able to continue their fucking careers, screw it. Just let's get them back in the ring against however, against any of these guys. So.
I've got a great idea. Let's just have like a drug cheat tournament. Put Fury in there, put Povetkin in there, put
Ortiz versus Povetkin should happen.
Yeah.
Ortiz versus Povetkin. Let them juice to the gills, do whatever the fuck they want. Just give them drugs. Fuck it, give them drugs. Like put out needles, like fresh, clean needles and all kinds of shit out for them to take, and do like a 24/7. Be like Luis Ortiz is now taking his daily Adderall dose, and shit like that. And, just pump him full of fucking speed and all kinds of shit, and let's get it, man, gladiator style.
That's a great idea. Send the email and see what they say. But anything else you guys want to discuss before we go into next week?
Nah, just nothing's going on.
Gamboa is going to be fighting Jason Sosa.
Like I said, nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so what
Gamboa
happened
versus Jason Sosa.
Has his other opponent pulled out or injured or?
Yeah, it was going to be Castellanos versus Sosa, I believe. So Castellanos got I guess injured, and now Gamboa is filling in. So I think it's a fun fight.
That is a good fight, actually. Both guys kind of action fighters. So.
Yeah, I think ultimately Sosa will probably be able to chin check Gamboa though. But who knows? Gamboa is one of those up and down kind of fighters, and sometimes he looks really good, sometimes not so much. I don't know if Sosa necessarily has that setup to really necessarily beat Gamboa as cleanly as, like, say, Castellanos did. But ultimately, I think the general kind of ferocity and volume that he provides will give Gamboa all he could handle.
All right, and let's go to next week, I guess. Quite a lot of boxing, as usual. Where should we start?
All on the same night?
Yeah, most of it, yeah. Beterbiev Colling. Who wants to go first? I've watched a bit of Colling. I thought I've never seen him. Then I found some Jim Watt and Hauling commentary, and I was like, when was this? Why are they commentating?
Who was he fighting? Was he fighting that big blonde dude from South Africa?
Well, he has fought him, yeah, but the fight that I'm referenced to was when Paul Smith fought Arthur Abraham, and so obviously Sky covered it, and Colling was on the undercard against the Italian dude Ricci. So yeah, he's got a pretty classic, European / German tight high guard. but it's a very frontal high guard. So you know those clubbing baseball bat shots from Beterbiev are going to come round the side and just catch him on the top of the head and give him wobbly legs. That's what I think is going to happen. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I can't remember seeing this guy, Cam. Were you going to play a clip of what?
No.
An old classic. No, I thought
No,
you were going to play a clip.
I vaguely remember calling, but I'm sure Beterbiev. I mean, he's
He'll
the
batter
better
him.
beast. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna fucking lay this motherfucker out on some. I'm gonna score a home run and then just walk off in the opposite direction without even looking at the fucking body fall.
The walk away.
And yeah, man, he's nasty with it, and it's a shame, man. Beterbiev is one of these guys that we've been talking about for a couple of years, but we still have yet to see him in like a real true test of somebody that can actually pull a little bit more out of him, other than the fact that he's just a mean, vicious knockout artist. So I mean, all I can expect is more bodies hitting the floor.
Lim, you're on the line making loads of noise. So what do you think about Beterbiev?
I'm good.
Ask him if he's good, though.
Is he okay? Is Bermain okay?
Did you get hit with the chair, Lim?
I'm good. hey, coach, what's your shirt say? Nah, I don't know. I don't know anything about this guy Beterbiev is fighting, but I think Beterbiev was a guy that I thought was going to take over 175 just because everybody speaks so highly of him. I know Pascal said he was the best guy that he's ever sparred against. And yeah, it's just a shame. I think it's another kind of thing like with like Deontay, where we can't really give him too much shit because it's been, I think, mostly on his opponents for not fighting him with the whole Sullivan Barrera situation. We thought that was going to be his first step up. Obviously, that didn't come into fruition because of promotional issues. But I don't know. I really don't know where he's at right now with his career. Hopefully he can do something with it. But 175 seems to be kind of another division that's getting relegated to the side with Ward retiring, with Kovalev not really fighting a big name right now and trying to get back to where he once was. I really don't know if there's even a guy at 175 where we could really say like, wow, this is Beterbiev's true step up. It would have to be against other guys who are kind of in similar situations like him, like our boy Bivol and like Gavaznich. I think they're all kind of in the same situation.
Or if he just bit the bullet, or I guess whoever bit the bullet and Stevenson fought him.
Yeah, well, Stevenson is just like a guy that we really won't discuss because he doesn't even take his own career seriously. So how are we supposed to judge him? But yeah, I mean, this weekend, I thought the Wilder fight, despite all the shit that I gave it, it was probably the best outcome that could have possibly been made, at least on Deontay's side, because that shit was really, really entertaining, despite the fact that it was a complete mismatch. Just that image of Stiverne laying on his back and that stretch, which is pretty incredible, that he was able to get that far down. It's just a credit to his nimbleness as an athlete, but I thought that was really, really funny.
Oh shit!
That's how Ski Mask warms up to do a run.
Jesus, if Ski Mask can get that low, I'll give him $1,000, man. I know. I swear to God, Ski Mask, if you can take a picture of yourself in that same position, I will PayPal you $1,000. Mark my words.
I think
I
could think he can get down to that position, but he won't be able to get back up.
Well, there you Oh, yeah, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, show me like a 10-second clip where you're going down and you get back up, and then I'll send you $1,000.
Yeah,
IG it to you.
I'm taking no part in this body shaming. It's disgusting.
Stiverne, I know we kind of discussed a little bit earlier, Cam, but he said he had no excuses. He said this time he was going to be in the best shape that he was ever going to be in, and I mean, I really haven't tracked Stiverne's progress too much as a fighter, but that was entertaining to say the least. And like you mentioned, Cam, the way that he was able to split the guard was pretty entertaining. And credit to Deontay, man. One thing that he has is really, really vicious power. And I think that's why the AJ fight is still intriguing, despite the fact that Deontay has been getting all this criticism from me, at least. It's still, I think, a fun matchup just because there's a lot of variables like AJ's chin and Deontay's power if he's able to land that punch.
And Deontay's chin.
True, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Deontay might have a worse chin than AJ. And actually, I'd probably assume so just based on their physical makeup. I think Deontay is a good 25 to 30 pounds lighter than AJ. And obviously, he has much smaller legs than AJ does as well. So, yeah, it would be a really, really fun fight while it lasted. But it's kind of in a situation right now. Do you guys think that fight's going to get made and sometime in 2018?
Yeah, we touched on it earlier and we kind of unanimously agreed maybe late 18.
And where do you think it would take place?
If it was past like late summer, then it'd have to be in the same stadium. So the Principality Stadium, as it's known now in Wales, formerly known as the Millennium. That's what most people know it as. But if it's late summer, we could do it in Wembley or Wimbledon.
Yeah, late summer. I wonder if the gate at in Vegas would be enough to supersede that.
It's difficult because Hearn goes on about he thinks it's a bigger fight in the UK. So you're probably right. If they jack the ticket prices up, then the gate would probably be more. But I think Hearn loves events like these big stadiums, these floodlights. I think that's what he wants to do. That's the type of person he is.
The only reason why I say that is because, at least from my perspective, whenever I watch a really big UK card, it still feels very odd to me, the fact that I'm watching it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When I watch a huge fight, I'm more in the zone, I think, later on a Saturday night. And I think the Triple G Canelo fight really taught me one thing, is that when you really do pair two guys against each other who I think the public would perceive as like this huge mega fight, especially with Deontay and AJ's personality, I feel like even though maybe them individually isn't as much of a gate kind of drawer as maybe like a Canelo Triple G, I think with them together, just considering, the size of both of them and just their physical makeup and the way they speak and whatnot, I feel like it can be a really, really big fight in the States. And I wonder if
the magnitude of the meaning that fight means to that division and to boxing.
Yeah, and I do wonder if Hearn would be willing to take that chance and do that in the States. Because if I'm no, I'm not. I never said
fucking piss stain of a fucking town, Vegas. It's a shithole. Doesn't need to do it.
It's not about need, though. I mean, a lot of
degenerates live in that fucking cesspit, man.
It's not about need, and it's not even about Vegas in particular. It's about potentially just doing it in the States to appease us. But again, obviously, we're only a smaller portion.
Well, for once, Hearn, I hope he says no. I mean, he should make it. He should do it over here. I just think that the other thing about the AJ thing is they don't know. They don't know if the fans will travel. They haven't done that yet. Like this is in Ricky Hatton. Yeah, it's a different thing.
Even in the post-fight interview, Jim Gray was really pressing Deontay Wilder, like, would you go to the UK to fight AJ? I think even Showtime and everybody from behind the scenes that are more on the neutral observer side of things are saying, like, look, if this fight happens, it's most likely going to be in the UK. So, with Deontay, are you willing to travel over there to fight the man? There's none of that grilling coming from the other side. Like, oh, Joshua, are you willing to go to the US to take on Deontay Wilder?
Well, Deontay did travel over here.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Deontay did travel over here to fight Audley Harrison in Sheffield. So.
Right, but that's Audley Harrison. And in a much different part of Deontay's career. But I'm just curious, though. So what did Deontay say to that question? Did he say that he was willing to travel to the UK?
Well, he didn't say like outright yes, but he basically said like, look, man, I'm willing to fight anywhere, anybody, all that stuff. He directly did call out Joshua. Huh?
Just that generic answer about I'll fight anybody, anywhere.
Yeah, sure. That's what he said specifically to that question. But the entire interview was basically predicated on him talking shit to Joshua, basically saying like, let's get it, and trying to do a kind of a terrible Adrian Broner impression of rhyming and stuff like that. But regardless of that, at the very least, he seemed very adamant about, like, look, I want to fight Joshua. I want to prove all these haters and doubters wrong. And, that's the fight that I want. So, I mean, I guess I can give him props in that regard.
I've seen Deontay put some quotes up about Joshua's going to do a bow and throw his belts in the trash.
That's very good timing, considering, Kimo was talking about Riddick Bowe the other day.
No, it was me, wasn't it?
Huh? Well, both of you guys.
Yeah. Lim, any other fights that happened that you want to talk about?
No, but that's the fight that needs to happen. And AJ is obviously in the driver's seat, and Deontay should acquiesce to whatever the fuck he wants. But one thing I will say, for the longest time, I thought Wilder deserved like a 90-10 split. But considering now with AJ's lack of credible opponents, I wouldn't be surprised if they give in a lot more to Deontay's needs. And I'm just curious as to see what would be the salary that needs to be met for Deontay for him to actually fly over to the UK and make that fight happen. Because if he's asking $7 million, which I don't even think he believes in, to fight guys like Chisora and White, I mean, he's probably going to ask like $20 million to fight AJ. And a large part of that is Hearn's fault too, for making the precedent at $5-6 million to fight fucking Charles Martin. Like that.
But he got £5 million. He got £5 million.
$5 million. So what is that, like $7.5-8 million? That's fucking insane.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. I mean,
you've got to pay Wilder £10 million. You've got to.
I'd be willing to bet
Wilder's going to spend that money.
Wilder's going to ask for at least what Klitschko got. He's going to ask for at least what Klitschko got, and he'd be right to demand it.
He should be right to demand it, because they've been mugging people off, selling AJ fights on pay-per-view and fighting these. I mean, he paid Martin well, but I don't think the other guys have got that well paid.
He just wanted that belt. That's why.
Do you guys know anything about how the AJ fight did, his last fight? Because at least here in the States, I know our numbers don't really mean anything, but the Showtime numbers, I think, did a lot worse than the Klitschko fight, and understandably so. But it was pretty drastic, I think, in terms of.
I think it was the worst selling one, but that's just rumors, But yeah, I can't imagine it went that as well as the previous ones have gone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because it's not a thing where you have to buy. Because you're buying your tickets up front.
I think just about everybody, even the casuals, understand that. Look, Joshua's chief rival is Deontay Wilder, so if he's not fighting him, then whatever. It's another Joshua fight where he's going to score a brilliant knockout, but even though he didn't. But we want to see the best fight the best, so no more time to be wasted.
All right, let's move on. Just go back quickly as we're talking about Beterbiev. Anyone else got anything to add?
The Charlo brothers on Showtime.
No,
did you guys catch that?
I didn't know.
Did you catch that, Nauta?
Can you
review show?
Can you recreate Can you recreate the interview in their accent, please, Lim?
Nah, man, I don't want to be racist. I'm a fan of the I'm a fan of the Charlo brothers. I've turned full 360 on them. I'm a fan of the Lions Only Club, bro. Yeah. Like, after going to H-Town in person and just seeing what they represent, like, I'm part of that Lions Only Club. And now, when I'm just doing my daily stuff, I just mean mug everybody, and I just I'm like, what's up? What's good? What's good? Like, I was at the post office today.
Catch me outside.
And she was like, do you want priority or overnight? And I was like, what's good? Like, what you think I want? Priority. Good.
All right.
That's it for me, though, man. Just keep moving forward and checking on, bro.
All right. Good news, Nauta, on the Beterbiev card that Amir Imam's finally back. Don't know who he's fighting though. Johnny Garcia, 19-5.
Yeah, they should be in line to get that WBC title out to somebody now that Crawford vacated as well. I'm pretty sure Imam is ranked like number 2 or number 1 or something like that. So.
Ah, shit. And is Mike Reed versus the Jose Carlos Ramirez a good fight? Both undefeated.
I'm trying to find the card that you're referring to.
Yeah, so it's on Saturday the 11th. It's the undercard of Vitervia versus Coling in Fresno, California.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah. Ramirez versus Reed. That's a good fight. I'll definitely be interested in that.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Saturday also, Matchroom USA at the Nassau Coliseum in New York. Jacobs versus Luis Arias. What do you think, Neota?
This is a good fight, man. Luis Arias, like I used to talk about how I thought he was really the best fighter under the TMT squad, the TMT banner. And, he left them and he went with Top Rank for a little while, I guess. And then now I'm even sure who he's promoted by specifically now. But him versus Jacobs, I think, is a pretty good fight. I think Arias, technically speaking, has a lot of skills that can give Jacobs a lot of issues. Really, the big question mark is how is his chin? I mean, are we looking at some Badu Jack level stuff where he could get caught clean early? Or, is he just chinny altogether? Or does he have a granite chin? I'm really not sure because I haven't really seen Arias's jaw really tested like that. This is a pretty big step up for him as far as I'm concerned. Jacobs is arguably the best fighter in middleweight. He was able to give Golovkin all you could handle and kind of outboxing him. And doing a pretty good job against him late. And, I mean, he still has that detonating, like, lights-out level power that he showed against Peter Quillen. And Jacobs is a fast starter. So, I mean, if Arias is in on his P's and Q's from the very first bell, it could be game over for him very, very quickly. But it's an intriguing fight as far as I'm concerned. I think Arias is one of those guys that, had he been built up a little bit better organically speaking, this would be a fight that was more clamored for than it technically is, and I think deserves to be. I think it's a relatively even fight, but just in general, because of the question marks that Arias has over him still, I would have to favor Jacobs, just because Jacobs, at the very least, recently he's been a little bit more consistent and in showing his class and level of ability.
Yep. I watched a bit of the Arias versus Magomed fight just before the show started, and yeah, he's kind of classic boxer stance, decent jab, really good right hand to the body. But if Jacobs loses to this guy, then Matchroom USA's finished before it started, so I don't really see that happening. So I don't know. Like it's to your point, can Arias take a punch off Jacobs? If he can't, then it's gonna go early. If he can, then yeah, maybe a UD, but.
He has the type of style that I think is just very difficult for a lot of people to handle, because he does everything pretty well, nothing necessarily special. So he can make a lot of guys look bad, I think.
Yeah. Leon, any thoughts?
I don't really know this guy, this TMT guy or ex-TMT guy. So I really don't know what it's going to be like for Jacobs. But, I mean, does it seem like a fair enough comeback fight? I mean, you guys have seen him, is it a decent enough opponent as a kind of warm-up for next?
It's not a bad fight for, it's, you know what Hearn's matchmaking's like, Leon. He's not going to put him in there with a beast in his first fight, so it's a decent enough fight where Jacobs is going to get a good outing. He's going to look good, I think, and yeah, he's going to get a few rounds maybe under his belt, so it's a kind of classic matchroom matchmaking.
It just seems like an odd, Jacobs being their big first signing just seemed like a strange one. I mean, I know he did very well in that Golovkin fight, but I don't know. I don't know what Hearn's up to.
No one does.
I don't
it might just be a case of Jacobs maybe didn't have as many strings tied to him as some other fighters.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
It's because of the fact that he didn't.
Easy to get.
Because a lot of times the way these contracts are structured, whereas if you lose a fight, regardless of how close it was or whatever, then certain things, it's it makes them easier for your promoter or whoever to let you go and stuff. So I guess it was just a case of he was probably one of the more talented guys that didn't necessarily have a lot of strings attached to him from any particular promoter. So Hearn just scooped him up because he figured, hey, this is a good value for the money that I can get.
Because he's probably still a Heyman guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Heyman's still managing him, but Leon, you remember when Dylan White was supposed to fight Marius Wack back in, I think, April or May at the O2, and then he pulled out injured. Apparently injured, but a lot of people thought shit ticket sales.
Yeah.
And then that card turned into the summertime brawl, and a card that should have been at the York Hall but was in the O2 Arena.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is a situation where they had an obligation to whack, so obviously they put him in there against Big Baby Miller. And I don't know. I think it's going to be good for Miller because Wack's kind of stationary. He's going to be there to be hit, and I think Miller could really look good against Marius Wack.
Yeah, I think so. Miller's one of those weird guys that I kind of like watching fight. And I don't really like heavyweight boxing, but there's something kind of intriguing about him.
Yeah.
Because I think we talked about it before. Like, he's massive, right? Like, he comes in really, really heavy.
He looks like the Michelin man.
It doesn't look wrong on him, does it?
Yeah.
He kind of carries it. He doesn't look like he carries it a bit better than those other guys. So
yeah, he has that
I'm always
look of like
interested in watching in him
He has-
actually.
he has a look of like those strongman competitors where they're not lean and ripped and shit, but they're just big.
Yeah, they're
You know,
picking
they-
up a big
like, even though you
granite
can
ball.
tell. Yeah,
It reminds
like
me of a
extra fat on
wrestler
it, but
from
it's
back
like
in
fat
the
over
day.
muscle.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Fat over muscle,
He's-
really,
he's
more
got-
so than just being flab.
Leon, he's got that bubble jacket body.
yeah, he really does. But for some reason, I find him quite intriguing. So, but Wack's a big lump, so he should be able to smash him up. I think.
Yeah. What else we got? Are you excited for the New York debut of Conor Benn versus TBA?
Dear God, I just don't. It's just embarrassing.
Us Yanks, we've been clamoring for Conor Benn, and Eddie Hearn is finally delivering what we asked for.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited.
The mini Tyson.
This is incredible. Yes, mini Tyson in the home of, or close to the home of Tyson.
Exactly.
It's only appropriate.
But
But no
It's like the
opponent.
second coming.
Yeah, so it's not going to be
Boring.
anyone with a pulse, is it, really, if they've not got opponent today, which is, Monday, and the fight's on Saturday, so...
Yeah, we
Neil,
some dross.
just going back to Miller, Wack, what do you think?
Whack is whack. So,
I knew you were going to
think,
use that line.
yeah, Marius Whack is going to get his head beaten in. And the thing is, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be kind of a fun beatdown. Whack will probably whack Miller upside the head a couple of times with some nice shots. But Miller, he's just one of those that just like strong, physical guys that is just going to, kind of grind you up and, spit you out and beat you down. I think he's going to just put a lot of hands on Wack. Wack, has a pretty good chin and everything, good punch resistance. I think it'll be fun to watch at least. It'll be maybe like one of those kind of, not necessarily supremely clean kind of technical fights or anything like that, but I think it'll be kind of a fun brawl, so to speak. But I think Miller, he'll be kind of throwing combinations where Wack is throwing kind of single shots and able to land pretty cleanly on him. And I think Miller's a really good fighter, man. I think I'm probably one of his few supporters that actually thinks that he gives a lot of difficulty to anybody, including the likes of Joshua Wilder, etc. So I think Miller's going to go in there and beat Wack down.
Nice. What else we got now? Looking at the schedule, Leon, no hassle. Don't know why it's there, but Liam Smith versus Liam Williams, the rematch. I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, this is the fight, isn't it? Still a great 50-50 fight like it was last time. And the only way Smith won that is by, doing what he did. But, it's still such a close fight to call. But, I believe in Williams and I'm sticking to it. I refuse to think about the idea of Smith winning. I will not entertain it.
It would just hurt too bad.
It hurts you too bad because, I would fully, it'd be amazing to see a full twitch on the floor, but I don't see him getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Maybe to the body, both of them to the body, but I don't see anyone getting clean iced.
To the body.
But it's going to be dirty as fuck, I think.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fucking back and forth, I think. Probably point deductions and fucking final warnings and a lot of shit, man. Maybe chairs getting thrown in the ring, being up in
It's
Newcastle.
going to be great, isn't it?
It will. But Naoto, I can't remember your thoughts on the first fight, man. So just give us a recap what you thought of the first fight.
Smith and Williams.
Yeah. No. I'm saying. No. I'm saying, did you enjoy the first fight, or do you remember it at all? Or?
I mean, it's hard for me to remember like specifically. I remember. I think
there was a headbutt. That's what everyone remembers. Anyway. He headbutted. Yeah, that's what everyone remembers.
It was an okay fight. I remember like the thing is I was watching it while I was doing some other shit at the time too.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, it was a good fight. A good fight between relatively even level guys. I think I thought Williams actually won in the end, if I'm remembering correctly. I'd have to go back and listen to my own.
He was
on the show to remember specifically.
He was winning. He got pulled out. That's the cuts.
Yeah, that was he got a really bad cut on the eyelid, and then his.
He was winning that fight.
His cornerman pulled him out, but
that's right.
Leon, I was there because I managed to.
I was a little bit perturbed about that whole situation.
Yeah, I was there because I managed to pick up a cheap ticket, man, and I was just so impressed with Williams, man. Like I said before the show, I think we did a chemo special a few days before, and I was like saying, Williams is kind of basic, and Smith throws more varied punches, but I was totally wrong, man. It was Williams that would just throw like the reverse 1-2, the 1-2-1. Like he would mix it up with just the punches. He'd throw like a right hand left hook. It's just the variety was excellent, especially on the back foot as well. Because the fights that I've seen before, he was always kind of on the front foot. So yeah, man, I was so impressed with him, and it's a shame about the way the first fight ended, and he was going on to win that fight unless there was some really bad robbery in the card. So, yeah, I hope he kind of beats him convincingly, because Smith's talked a lot of shit, man. Like, how Williams is a quitter, and he was going to fucking end up getting to him in the end. Like, the cut and the headbutt didn't really make a difference. Of course it made a difference. It fucking changed the whole the way
flow of the fight.
Yeah, how the fight played out. So, out of the Smith brothers, I always kind of liked Liam, but yeah, after that incident and the way he came out talking shit, man, like, yeah, now I'm on like zero fans of any of his Smith brothers, man. So,
but there's a problem with these Smith brothers. They can fucking dish it out, but they cannot take it, and this is what happens. So he gets all wound up because people weren't very nice to him after he cheated to win, which is what a lot of people saw in that first fight. And this is what they get like. They're so fucking touchy, all of them. Yeah. I hope he gets fucking splattered, honestly. I really do. I'll be fucking amazing. And then I hope Liam Williams sets fire to a Liverpool shirt at the same time and leaves it over his twitching body. But, we can only dream.
That's just the thoughts of Liam.
Me and my beloved, my passion for the red side of Liverpool. There we go, those fans. Bye. Bye now.
Okay, Leon, we have a conundrum. Will you be watching that fight live, or will you be watching... No, actually, it's not a conundrum. That's the one you're going to be watching live. Josh Taylor and Miguel Vasquez can be waiting on your Skybox to be watched later on.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a good test for... it seems like a good matchmaking, good learning fight from Josh. Like, look, he hasn't been stopped, has he, this guy, from what I saw on his box rec thing? Like, he's lost, but he's never been knocked out, has he?
Yeah, he's never been stopped.
Yeah, so he's a tough guy.
He's over the hill, but he's a defensive specialist, and he's just a spoiler. He's a spoiler, so I mean, I guess it'll give Taylor some good rounds against the guy that normally makes guys look bad, and hopefully he doesn't look bad again.
You know what?
That's what I mean. It's good planning. It looks like to me. Good style, like a style he hasn't seen before.
One trivia point that I always love about Miguel Vasquez, you know who he fought in his debut? Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
Did he?
And that was Alvarez's first fight as well. No, sorry, it wasn't his first fight. Canelo was a few fights in, but it's pretty amazing, man, that he fought Canelo in his debut.
Yeah, and then they rematched because a lot of people thought Miguel Vasquez beat him in that fight.
No, you're telling me that Canelo was getting dodgy decisions from day one. Say it so. Corrupt motherfucker, that one.
Yeah, and that's about it, I think, for this weekend. Unless you guys want to add anything else.
Is there nothing on that? What's on that? Smith, Williams undercard, anything?
There are probably like well matched British fights, but I'm not really. No, I know Thomas Patrick Ward's fighting Sean Davis, but I don't know. Sean Davis.
Nothing.
Is not a memorable name to me. Josh Leather's fighting Glenn Foote. I know I like Josh Leather, but Glenn Foote as well. I'm not sure if I've seen him before. That heavyweight Nathan Gorman's fighting Mohammed Solby, whoever that is.
So nothing much then.
It doesn't look it, but you know what? Box Nation flatters to deceive sometimes. Like it looks like nothing, but then on Saturday night, like you look at your Twitter and like every fight's like a war, fight of the year candidate. Yeah, so.
But Cam, I bet it's one of those weeks where if you enter, there'll be a competition, and if you enter it, you're going to win some tickets. Like everyone will win. Everyone's the winner.
Everyone entered is a winner for a ticket. Like if it was fucking closer, I would go. But I don't know. Newcastle's like
Newcastle seems an odd place for the fight.
It's, you know what? Like I don't
neutral ground maybe.
And they pushed the date. I remember it got announced. People probably booked their hotels and shit, and then because afterwards they announced the Joshua fight for the end of October, then they had to move the date for this. But overall, it's been a shambles, man. Either put it in Wales or put it in Liverpool, man. I don't see the sense in Newcastle.
I reckon they're worried about it kicking off.
It's going to kick off probably up north as well.
Anyway, yeah, exactly,
yeah. Anything else, Leon?
No, nothing I can think of, man.
Nikki, anything else from you?
Nah, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm fucking done. I'm knackered.
Same here, man. I've been up since 5:30.
Motherfuckers.
Right. Leon, thank you, sir. Neota, thank you.
Oh, yeah, nice one, man.
Thanks to Lim as well for the momentary time he jumped on. Thanks to all the people in the chat and all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back next week. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Dude, man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically banging, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the song, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Do we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass.
Just to play devil's advocate.
You want one portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side? But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you? He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weighed for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.